What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined across the table by my co-host, Rachel Mo.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine day?
I'm very tired. We already talked about this. Yeah. You may or may not get a snippet of it in the us launching the actual episode, but Jared and I were just talking about how I just finished the new Dune movie, and it was so long, so I wound up staying up way later than I thought I was going to last night, because I was like, there's only 30 minutes left. I am not going to pause it and come back to this tomorrow.
Just wondering, what is your definition of way too late? Because I feel like we probably have different.
I usually go to bed like right at or before midnight,
okay.
So it was like 12:45.
Oof, just pushed it way too far.
Yeah, just pushing it way too far.
I usually will go about 11, so not too far off.
Okay.
You know, that's like, ooh, really burning the midnight oil at 11 o'clock.
Wow. What a lame-o.
Oh, man. But if you'd like to hear us talk about our sleeping habits or lack thereof, or any other things related to video games, well, hey, this is the spot for you. You can listen to a new episode each Thursday, except last Thursday. Sorry, everybody. We just scheduling happens sometimes, so we just can't get one out the door. But here we are. We're making up for it.
My class schedule got all effed up.
No, then I had people visiting too.
Yeah.
It was
both.
It was both. That's why I was just being nondescript and saying like scheduling. Then
I'll be descriptive. Two bad things happened, and then all of our schedules got effed up.
Exactly. So anyway, we are here though now, bringing you another fresh, fun episode for you, which we will be continuing on in our ABCs of video games with J, K, and L.
What's the halfway point in the alphabet?
Are we not there yet?
I think like this is the halfway point, isn't it?
By just sheer looking at this list visually,
I feel like it's L.
I feel like we're there.
Yeah.
So
maybe
because
it's an even number. There are 26 letters in the alphabet. What's half of 26? 13.
Yeah.
So it would be the 13th letter.
You're doing math real fast.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. Okay.
Almost there.
L-M.
So next one will be the second
The next one will be the official halfway point. Well, actually, that works out really nicely because that's like two perfect halvesies chunks.
Yep, I like it. And I mean, honestly, are we even going to have ones for X, Y, and Z? Who knows?
You'll
have to find out. Because we will too. But anyway, but before we get into that, it has been a bit since we've been recording. What's been going on in your gaming world?
We have to obviously do one. Let's do a quick Horizon catch up.
Has been a bit
because I just surpassed 100 hours.
But before we get too far into that, though, I didn't realize because it has been a bit since we recorded. I didn't say thanks to our patrons, so I got to do that real
Jared,
quick. Because you can find the show, once you listen to all those episodes on Thursday mornings when they come out, the brand new ones. You can do that on youtube.com where you can watch the episodes. You can listen to it on podcast services around the World Wide Web, as well as, a lot of other great places. I'm all out of place and discombobulated, but pushing forward. Because you can also find us on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Join our Discord server. And if you'd like to help make the show bigger and better, just like some of our patrons, Super Saiyan Ace, Elise F, Zach S, Mariah S, Susan M, James K, Ben W, Michael B, Andrew M, Michael S, and Brandon W have done. You can go over there, and for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show. And in return, we'll give you cool perks like getting the episodes early and early access to anything extra that we do or produce while we're on the show, and access to a private channel on our Discord server, The Rogues Gallery. So lots of fun stuff to check out there. But if you can't do that, that's no big deal at all. You can still support the show and help make it bigger and better by telling your friends, writing us reviews, subscribing wherever you're listening to or watching the show. All that great stuff helps get the good word of Team Chat Podcast out to the masses. And for that, we are eternally grateful, and we love each and every one of our viewers, patrons, and listeners alike. Heart emojis.
Heart emoji. Smooches.
Okay. So now, though, cut that in, interject, cut back to our Horizon Forbidden West update.
So let's catch up on Horizon Forbidden West. Let's do the Aloy Goes West roundup.
Sure.
I just surpassed 100 hours.
Incredible. What an achievement. Golf clap.
What an achievement. Now, the one thing that I'm not really sure of, because I'm very, very bad about doing this, I will frequently just leave the game on, and I'll just go away.
but like you'll turn it off and like put it into rest mode, right?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
that's
but wait,
the
you're
thing.
you're on the PS4 too.
Yeah, I'm on the PS4, but I can put it into rest mode and like just leave the game in.
Which should pause it.
It does pause it, but that's not necessarily what I do. Because if I'm like in an area of the game where there's no danger to Aloy, and I'm just going to go do something else real quick and then come back a couple hours later, I'll sometimes just not even pause the game, and I'll just leave the controller in the game there, and then I'll go do something else, and then I'll come back and be like, now where was I?
So you might have like the random hour or two here and there.
I think it is between realistically 90 to 100 hours.
I mean, but still.
Yeah,
like
but still.
the game clock says 100 hours.
For all
That's
intents and
impressive.
purposes, it's 100 hours.
Especially when you compare that to me, who just crossed 40 hours.
Which is so we're saying like just cross 40
That's still
hours,
a lot of
but for
game.
most games,
Yeah.
that's the whole game.
And I'm still so early in the story.
And so actually I'm still quite far ahead, I think.
Right.
Where are you at now?
I honestly, the last couple times I've played, I've really only had time to do more side mission stuff. So I haven't really, I've just done more derpy stuff because the missions, like, they're longer. You know, once you do like all the conversating with people, get to where you're trying to go, usually fight the big bad machine or boss of some kind that you have to.
Right.
The missions can honestly take, 30, 40 minutes, maybe longer, an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I want to have that chunk to be able to be like, I'm going to play at least through a mission in this period. So if I don't feel like I have that, I'm just derping. And so I really am not. I got the first subsystem and have found out about others, met some interesting people. I'm just
Did
going to
you
keep it
get
very vague.
Poseidon first or
Aether.
Aether? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So I'm going to Poseidon next, but I'm
Okay,
still on that.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
I did, though, just fight my first Thunderjaw and kill it.
I saw that.
I was very proud.
And you're on very hard, aren't you?
Yes.
That's impressive.
And it felt great because it felt great for two reasons. Remember the mission that I said that I was stuck on where you had to kill the Ravagers?
Yes.
That was the Thunderjaw was like the end of that one. So I finally beat that side mission that I have
very
been
cool.
struggling with for forever.
Oh, I know what you're
The one
talking
that's like
about.
where they're trapped in that, like-
they're like in the ravine.
You gotta go with
and
that
then you have to
Draka
fight-
guy or something
yep,
like
you
that.
Fight. I forgot that ended in a Thunderjaw. You
gotta go fight a
Because I
Thunderjaw
was in
next.
my head, I was like, which Thunderjaw did he fight?
Which, like-
and now I'm like, oh, okay.
Talk about a incredible side mission that it's a side mission that puts you up against some of the hardest machines that you're going to fight in this
Yeah.
game.
Yep.
And so that was pretty, I mean, I know there's probably plenty more that I haven't discovered yet and gotten to, but still for just like being like, oh, I'm just going to take care of this quick little side mission. Wrong.
Yeah, that one wound up being way longer
It
than
was
I thought it was going
so
to be. too.
hard. It took me forever to kill those Ravagers.
So I do want to point out real quick, that's actually one of the things that I am liking the most about many of the side missions is that they give you a companion
Yes.
to help you fight some of the game's most difficult monsters.
It's like the learning curve for 'em, because if you're just
Yeah,
running
it
out in
is.
like the main mission, you're probably not going to have much help. Like early on one, slight spoiler, when you fight your first Tremor Tusk, like you have Kotalo is there with
yeah,
you.
you do. Yeah,
But
yeah.
like also he's not doing much. So it's still pretty much the impetus is on you.
Mostly the benefit of them is they will throw you ammo and they will just draw fire.
Yeah, they'll be
I
the
just need them
distraction.
to be the sponge.
He's over there like dying on the ground. He's like, help, Aloy. I'm like, nope. I'm
Can't-
over here
can't do
crafting arrows.
I'm
Ain't got
busy,
time for you. So yeah.
I appreciate that the game gives you a little bit of like difficulty padding for like those first encounters with the game's really big difficult monsters. Love that.
It is
10
great.
out of 10.
It is great. So, still just chugging along through it, but still having an absolute blast. I feel like I'm getting really refined now. Like I feel like I've started to hit my flow with it, with like the combat and everything. Like I'm getting better at dodges and my slides and all this other stuff, which is obviously helping out a ton with like the Ravagers and the faster machines and stuff like that. But I know I still have a hell of a lot of game left to go, but I'm still just excited to get into
me
it.
too.
I'm going to be playing it for forever. So
To the Horizon Forever West. That's what they should have
exactly.
called it. They really
So-
missed the mark on that one.
I know, right?
Yeah.
They should have done better about that.
The only I want to ask you something real quick. So of your side quests, have you received a side quest from Zoe? Like back at the base?
Yes, I haven't done it yet.
What was the side quest?
Oh, crap. I don't remember what it's called now, but I know she gave me one. It's like, you get Aether, you go back to the base and you talk with everybody. And
Yep.
in that part, she gave it to me then.
Okay.
So I did that.
I just want to know when you finish one of Zoe's side quests. I actually can't remember if she gives you more than one, but one in particular I just finished this past weekend, and it was so like I actually kind of teared up a little because
Aw.
I was like, "Bleh."
Okay, I definitely have not had an
So,
ending then that hit me that way.
I don't think it would have actually done that to you.
But I mean, like, giving
just
me the
found it
feels.
very like emotional in a way. So
Yeah.
once you eventually finish one of Zoe's side quests, and I think you'll know which one I'm talking
Sure.
about, let me know so that we can talk about
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
it. Anyways,
We've caught up on the Aloy Goes West. She's continuing on in her journey. As we
really,
are
she's not
continuing
exactly going west. She's kind of going in circles.
We're going in circles. Like I feel like this is the path for me. Like just going out, just go out, then I come back. Then I go out a little farther. Then
They come back.
then I go out just a little bit farther. It's like
Yeah, pretty
a
much.
planet's rotational axis. and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
we're orbiting.
We're orbiting
We're
the map.
orbiting around the main quest and never actually going to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening.
But we will no longer orbit around the main quest of this episode, which is we are going to get into the next 3 letters of our ABCs of video games. This has been a very fun topic.
Very fun.
And I'm
This is-
excited to see. I feel like these 3 letters, I feel like I will go ahead and say, I feel like my K is a little weak,
Yeah.
but there's not a whole lot of video games that start with K.
There's not. Yeah.
So,
Well-
and I can't pull. I was trying to think of like a game that I could say it has a silent K for it and then still use it, but it doesn't work.
You couldn't try it with Knights of the Old Republic.
Well, I mean, I could, but like it
Is
still
that the
technically
game that you're
starts with
going
a
to
K.
talk about?
No.
Oh, wow, really?
See, that was your guess.
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
knew,
that was my
I knew
guess.
you wouldn't get it.
Oh, wait, I do. Okay, well, I'll give you
we'll
my.
get there.
That wasn't the actual guess.
Okay.
My real guess is something else, but we'll get
We'll
to
wait
it.
till it when we get to the
But
Ks.
I think that for me, I have not struggled with any other letter more than J. I had a very hard time, and there was really only one game at all
Mm-hmm.
that I could be like, yep, that's my J. Everything else was just like, I haven't played
I'm trying to think of what that could be.
any of these. You'll know it when I say it. It'll be
Okay.
very, very obvious. I thought I was getting desperate enough that I was like, I might just have to find a way to shoehorn in my vague thoughts and opinions on a game I've never played, specifically Jet Set Radio.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
love the look of Jet Set Radio. It's such a cool looking game. It's
Feel
very
like there's rumors
iconic.
of a remaster coming.
There's rumors of there always are. There's always rumors of a remaster.
mill's always
But the
going.
point is, I've never played it, so
Yeah.
it just would have been me going like, "Man, about this game that I never actually played but wished I had." So it would have been very what if, but that's not the one that I settled on. You get a few.
Okay, I
guesses.
need one hint. Just give me like a. I know without. I mean, unless that's gonna just give it away.
I mean, it really kind of has to. Music.
What?
Music.
And how's that a J?
It's not. That's the hint.
Oh. Well, I mean, the thing that comes to my mind first is Concrete Genie, but that's a G.
Oh, I could have tried that. Could have been like
It
the
sounds
G. It
like it.
sounds like J. No, not Concrete Genie.
Music.
It's not part of the. Well, actually, it kind of is part of the game.
Journey.
Yep, there you go.
There-
Journey.
Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
It's really the only game that I could think of at all. Because
I mean-
there's not that many games
Yeah.
with J's in the title.
No, and I'm having to go by not like the official title, but like a.
like the subtitle.
The subtitle
Yeah.
of the game.
Well, luckily, I at least have Journey in the back pocket, which is
I mean, that's a solid choice.
still a solid choice and still an incredible game that still has a lot of staying power. So for anybody that's not familiar with Journey, it came out back in, I want to say maybe 2012. So by now, yeah, it would be, yes, it is.
I think it just hit an anniversary,
It's 10
right?
years old because the composer,
Austin Wintory.
Austin Wintory. I wanted to say Christopher Larkin, but he's Hollow Knight. Wrong person. Austin Wintory just released a remastered
right.
live version of Journey's
listen to that still.
soundtrack. Yeah. So if you haven't listened to that, just do yourself a favor. Go listen
It's
to
so good.
it. It's so good.
Like it's one of those soundtracks I feel like, again, as I've said before, I have not yet played Journey. I want to. I've got Firewatch out of the way. It's time to move on to Journey.
It's time to move on to Journey.
But Journey is one that even without the context of the game,
the music,
the
you
music
don't need
transports you to emotional places that you did not know that your cold
It
heart
does.
could dream of.
The music transcends the game itself.
Oh, for
which is
sure.
how you know that it's like the next level of musical greatness in video games. But that's not the entire point of the game. So the point of Journey is you play as a little humanoid creature. I won't necessarily call it a person because you could argue that it's maybe not, but you're like a little humanoid creature and you are just running around this vast, seemingly empty desert world. And in the far distance, there's a mountain with a pillar of light coming out of it. And that's the journey. The whole point of the game is that you are just trying to get to this mountain and figure out what's going on with the light. But it's not like a quest in like the game gives you a prompt like, hey, something's going on over there.
Sure.
No, you just kind of see it and you're like, cool.
I should go there.
I should go over there. So really the only point of the game is you are traversing from point A to point B, trying to get to the mountain. But the ways that you get there and really just the journey that you take is the whole point of the experience, and it is done in such a unique and impactful way that it stays with people for years and years and years. That's why we're still talking about it 10 years later. That's why it got a re-release of its incredible soundtrack, because people are still hung up on this game.
Now, question. I know it has, just for I'm just thinking future down the road here. It has some kind of co-op component to it, right?
So I actually am intentionally trying to not talk about it too much.
Right.
Just because if you can get that co-op component to become part of your experience, it really just takes things to the next level.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying. Dewey Team Chat plays.
I didn't even think about that, Jarrett.
Just percolating content ideas.
And it's been so long since I've played it. I've never replayed it.
Oh, really?
No,
it could at this point would be almost like playing it again.
Almost. I can remember all of the kind of musical beats, but it's kind of just it's a desert. All the colors are kind of the same.
Sure.
So it's oh man, I'm not sure if I would remember how to do everything, but that's part of the fun.
Nice.
So
okay, we'll have to do that then.
I think it would make an incredible Team Chat plays, and it's a very short game.
And if you just want to come watch us cry on stream, because we're in our feels through the music the whole time.
Yeah, we really will.
Just,
it'll be a very...
Come on by for a good, sad time.
Not necessarily sad.
I know, just emotional time.
Emotional. It's just the way that the music builds it up in you at the end. You're like,
I can't handle it.
I can't take this anymore. So I'm being intentionally vague about Journey, because if anybody hasn't played it, please do. It's a short, wonderful experience. It's been remastered a couple of times. I believe that the PS4 remaster is still available and very cheap. It is not expensive.
$10 or less at this point,
It frequently goes on sale for $1. So put it on your wish list. Please play it. It is a fantastic game that really I don't think ever could be done quite the same. There would be no point in a Journey 2.
No.
What would you do?
The closest thing that honestly I can think of from what I've played to it, granted, again, not having played it, is Grease. In terms of emotional impact comparisons.
Yes.
And how the music influences the gameplay and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But, still, so if you're going to do it again, do something else other than Grease, but similar to Grease. Because Grease was great.
Yeah.
Anyways, Journey, that one hadn't even crossed my mind yet.
I thought for sure it was going to be your J. I thought we were going to overlap.
No, because I haven't played it, so I'm trying to not do the.
I guess I always forget that you haven't played it.
Because why have I not?
Jared,
at this point, why have I not done it yet?
So is your J something that you think I can guess?
Yeah, I think you can. I've talked about it a lot. It's a sub. The J comes from the subtitle, meaning the main title is something else.
Well, it's not Order 1886.
Not yet. We're not to the O's.
It's gonna be on that list.
I'm talking about the game again. God damn it!
Any opportunity. It's a J that I would probably know.
Is something that I like a lot.
Is it Star Wars? Okay. Star Wars. Jango Fett's Fun Day Out.
Man, that's Star Wars Bounty Hunter, but no.
Great game.
That is actually Jango Fett is the protagonist of the Star Wars Bounty Hunter game.
But in my mind, it's just him going to the mall and he's just having a good
Jango
time.
On his day off.
Yeah, exactly. Star Wars Jites of the Jold Republic. Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order.
God,
there it is. Jedi Fallen Order was.
I couldn't even think of the word Jedi. I was like, what could it be?
Those space wizards. What are they?
They got wands? I don't know.
Oh man, but no, Jedi Fallen Order is my choice for Jay because. Granted, yes, there weren't a whole lot of options for Jay either, but I was like, this is it. There were a couple other Star Wars Jedi games out there, but Jedi Fallen Order takes the cake because it has been one of the best Star Wars games that we've gotten in a very long time.
Yeah.
Especially from the mode of single player story, doesn't have a multiplayer and all that stuff, but just a very in-depth single player story is one that we have not gotten in a very long time.
And it doesn't exist purely to get microtransaction dollars.
Exactly.
What's
looking at you, Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2.
Which I will say, I still play a hell of a lot of.
Well,
I don't have to spend money for it, so it's fine. I'm not paying the money for the microtransactions. They got rid of them a long ago anyway, too. But still, Jedi Fallen Order just delivered on so many levels. And it was great because, I love Respawn. Respawn's a fantastic studio. Gave us Titanfall, Apex Legends, stuff like that. They're working on 3 more Star Wars games, I think, right now, including the sequel to Fallen Order.
Which
which
means
is
Titanfall
very exciting.
3 is
Just not gonna
never
happen,
happening.
ever. Like,
No.
I want it to so bad because
But it
Titanfall is so
won't.
great, but it's going to be a long time.
I
if
feel
ever.
like that's a dead franchise.
Probably, which
talk
is
about
weird
that.
because Apex is in the same universe and lore, and it's like it would be so easy now to drop Titanfall 3 and it would sell like gangbusters.
We'll talk about it when we get to the tease.
All right, we'll save it for there. But no. So anyway, you got this great studio behind it. It's great because I think it's great in how it does try to tell its own story around the main story, but without pulling in too much of the established characters and things like that. So you really do get this whole brand new adventure. I think Cal Kestis is a great protagonist for it, and I think the second sister of the Inquisitors is a fantastic.
Where she be?
She actually, I set up my figures differently, and I think she actually fell behind my entertainment center, and I haven't had a chance to get her yet.
Wow, what a demise for such a great build.
I know, right? But it's just one of those games. But the thing about it that I love so much is that it's very much a Star Wars Souls game, and like
Yeah.
how its combat is set up and how it's very unforgiving. I died so many times. It's one that you really do, just like the Souls games, have to get that combat down. You have to learn the timing. You have to learn the parries. You have to learn, all the X, Y, and Z.
You can't just button
You
mash your way
can't.
to success.
And I started the game thinking that was how I was going to be able to do it, because honestly, that's what I was used to with other Star Wars games in the
Yeah.
past. It's just like you kind of just go out there and have fun. I know there's like Force Unleashed, which has Force abilities and all this other stuff that's a little bit more refined too, but for the most part, that you just could, as long as you didn't get hit too many times with blaster bolts, you were fine. This one throws in wildlife. You're fighting, Jedi in some instances. You're fighting just some other inhabitants of planets, and it's just, but it also, because you go to so many different places, you just get this overall Star Wars universe feel to it that is just really great.
Which is awesome. And I really like it when they try to branch out more from the established canon. Like, I feel like that's why so many people liked Rogue One.
Oh.
Because it was like, look
Yeah.
at all of these fresh faces.
But still,
this
like
is a nice
it's
touch.
like the side thing, and that one even like it ends where the first movie, Episode 4, New Hope, picks up
Yeah.
and begins. But it's like because they kept it with the same thing. It's like it's tied. You see where it connects, but they kept it separate, and
Yeah.
I think it was great. And I think that's what Fallen Order did really well too. So the music's great. It just hits all those big keynotes for me about what really makes a great game and what really makes it hit. Obviously, being Star Wars puts it up there a few more notches already, but I just think it was a fantastic adventure. One I want to go back and replay soon. I don't know when that's going to happen though, because I'm still going west. But
Still going west.
but still, Jedi Fallen Order was. I knew I was going to like it, but there's still that whole, is it going to still actually be a good game? And it delivered
Yeah.
on that for sure. So,
Awesome.
Jedi Fallen Order has to be my J.
Fantastic. All right. I actually had a couple of different choices for K.
Interesting.
And it wasn't, I was having trouble at first, and then I thought of the most obvious one for me, which is the one that I went with because obviously I have to. But there was a runner up that I feel like many, many, many people know. I don't think it's a game that you've ever played, though.
Okay.
I'll give you some hints. Imagine a big, crazy-shaped god, and he's like, my son, ? I think you're his son. You have to go and bring order. I honestly don't remember what the story is. I think you have to bring order to the world, and it's very cell-shaded. It's an old game.
Okay.
Think PS2, I think, was the era.
And this is your runner-up, or is this your? Oh, no, this is your choice.
This is my runner-up.
Okay.
Really put some emphasis on the word run and maybe add in a roll. I don't think you're ever going to get it. It's
No. Katamari Dynasty.
Yeah, Katamari Damacy. So I was
Damacy.
I was
Why did I say
thinking
Dynasty?
that
Is there one that's Katamari Dynasty?
they've made more.
Okay, so
so
maybe
there
that's what I'm
might
thinking
be,
of?
But I was thinking of Katamari Damacy.
Okay.
But anyways, the point is I didn't go with that game because the obvious choice had to go in its place. It's another game I've talked about many times, and every time I talk about it, it kind of feels like an evolving tall tale where it gets wilder and wilder every time it comes up in conversation. It's a game from the GameCube that they will never remake, but God, I wish they would.
Man, I am blanking.
It is a Nintendo IP.
Okay.
Starts with a K.
I've assumed.
A character from Smash Bros.
There's a roster of 72.
He Swallow.
Kirby. Kirby Air Ride.
Kirby Air Ride, yes! It's Kirby Air Ride.
Why couldn't I think of that?
Because it's such a niche game.
Yeah.
Nobody will. No, I'm not gonna say
You and Bro Mogan.
Me, Bro Mogan, and our BFF. Why can't I think of his name? Ro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, one of the. This is just weird timing. I think he very recently made a Twitter post about like wanting Kirby Air Ride back, and I'm like, yeah. Me too,
You and me both.
I think about that all the goddamn time. Anyways, just gotta talk about Kirby Air Ride yet again because it's one of the more forgotten of the Kirby installments.
Sure.
But good lord, that game was fun. So the whole point of Kirby Air Ride is it does not follow even remotely the platforming format of the other Kirby games. You basically are just battling it out. It really is kind of like a balloon battle. It's kind of like balloon battle in Mario Kart in that it's you in your cart, like basically your vehicle,
Sure.
fighting on a big map against a bunch of other players. So in that sense, that's kind of the setup, or at least it is for City Trial. I know there were other modes that I never played. City Trial was the best one because it just absolutely ruled. But the point is, you get to choose Kirby, Meta Knight, King Day. I think that's his name.
That's all those.
Yeah, and like a few other, maybe Waddle Dee. You get to pick from a couple of different characters, and then once you're in this giant map, so I'm only going to talk about City Trial mode because it's literally the only one I remember. But when you get into this map, you're just kind of plopped down, and I don't remember if you start with a base vehicle or not. You might just have to run for the nearest one. So you get dropped off in this giant sprawling city, which is GameCube graphics. Everything is just polygons with bad textures over top of them. It's beautiful.
But you thought it was real.
But you thought it was real. So you basically have to make a break for it, battle royale style, for who's going to get the best loot first. And loot in this case is all the different vehicle types, which are all various things that Kirby might ride on.
Sure.
So things like his iconic yellow Power Star or whatever it's called. Meta Knight's got this fancy Dark Star that he can ride around on. Anybody can ride on these vehicles, but I'm just associating them with specific characters. There's like a weird one that's a single wheel and it's really clunky and bad.
Interesting.
And all of these different vehicles, and there were many different types, all have different stats. So some of them are really, really good at getting a lot of glide. Some of them are really fast but have terrible turning. Some of them are slow at first, but they can really pick up speed if you keep going in a straight line, like drag racer style.
Sure.
So the whole point of City Trial is within a time limit, you're going around the map, either battling for new vehicles, like trying to knock somebody off there so that you can take it, finding another vehicle that nobody else has taken, and more importantly, gaining power-ups all throughout the map. So they're basically little chunks of abilities that you can just sort of ride right over, and they add to your stat pool. Because once the trial time runs down, you enter into this little gauntlet of mini games. So the whole point of the City Trial is you're beating the crap out of other people to get the best vehicle and the best stats, so that when you move into the little mini game tournament mode, your vehicle performs the best and you win all of the mini games. So some of them kind of are like drag races. Others are things like little mini just races around a little course.
Sure.
Or it could be something like who can glide the farthest. So all kinds of stuff like that are what your ultimate goal is. But God, nobody really cared about that. The point is to just ride around town and beat other people up. You get all of Kirby's like normal power-ups that you would consider from the games, like the big spike hat,
Sure.
the frosty one, flames and whatever. I think you can maybe throw bombs at people. Ooh. Yeah, it's awesome. Kirby Air Ride is a fever dream from God knows whatever year it came out. 2006?
It's old.
2007?
My God.
I don't know. I can't remember exactly what year it came out, but Kirby Air Ride is the absolute king of fighters, as far as I'm concerned, of Kirby games.
Nice.
And I am going to look up which year it came out, because that's going to kill me if I can't
Because which one was it for? GameCube?
GameCube. Yeah.
Wow.
Kirbo Air Ride.
I want to say the GameCube might be the Nintendo system that I've played the least.
So here's a fun fact. IGN rated this game a 5.2 out of 10.
But what do they know?
But on eBay, it's a 4.8 out of 5. So clearly, and 96% of users liked this video game. So it's like, yeah, IGN doesn't know jack shit.
What are you doing?
2003. It was even
Wow.
older than that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess that makes sense for the GameCube.
Yep, for the GameCube.
Because the
so-
Wii was out 6, 7.
Yeah, I think
By
you're
that
right.
point, I think.
But they kept making games for both for a
Oh,
while.
yeah, because
there,
they
as
could play the
always
same
do.
discs, right?
Yes, they can. Yeah, they could.
right,
I forgot about that too. Damn.
And you go buy some GameCube games.
Yeah,
now.
God.
I got a Wii.
I'm actually pretty sure that we still own our Kirby Air Ride disc.
Nice.
Because I still have an old GameCube kicking around.
Oh, we got to find it then, and then we have to stream all
Oh my
that.
God, but like play Kirby Air Ride.
Yeah,
That'd be so
we
fun.
have to do that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That'd be great.
All right. Anyways, Kirbo Air Ride. What a good game. Please, Nintendo, I am begging you to
Bring it back.
You don't even have to remake it. Just give me a shitty port on the Switch, and I will accept
Which,
that.
like, why haven't they yet, you know?
Don't know. Because poor Kirby can't seem to get any new games that aren't Smash, other than Forgotten Lands that just came out.
Which is actually very good. I know we like the demo.
Yeah,
but,
people
like,
love that
People
game.
saying it's pretty great.
Anyways, yeah.
So very nice. Kirby Air Ride, the
Kirbo
fever
Air
dream
Ride.
that it is. Moving on to my cave. Like I said, this one is kind of weak in this that it's been so long.
My guess.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's been so long since I played these. I don't remember. I caught myself back up again on kind of like a brief overview of it, but I'm obviously not going to go super into it because I just don't remember
I
it.
bet I'm right.
But yeah.
Killzone.
Oh my God, you actually got it!
Yes, I knew it.
I was so surprised.
I knew I was right.
Oh wait,
Because you lent me your copy and then I
forgot.
So back when the podcast was still like new.
Just started.
Like we had just started. I had just gotten the PS4
Yep.
because like we did I don't remember why I got it. I must have just gotten it because I had to. But I
Yeah,
had
because I demanded you get it for
Yeah,
the show.
obviously.
You got to keep up.
I had just gotten a PS4 and Jarrett was like, "Oh, I'll lend you some of my games." I'm pretty sure you lent me the Order
I did,
1886.
and it sat collecting dust
Right
along with
alongside
Killzone
Shadowfall. Did not touch either of those games ever.
Well, you know what?
But
You're
I
missing
remember
out.
seeing it every day in my apartment. And I'd be like, man, gotta give those back to
And it
Jared.
was like years. I want to say we're on what, year 6 of the show? I want to say it was like year 3 or 4 before you gave them back.
I'm 99% sure that the only reason I ever did give them back, it had to be when I was moving.
Yes.
Because I was probably like,
Yes,
oh
yes,
man,
yes.
I'm moving. This is the only time I'm ever going to give these back. Yep, that's so.
I completely forgot that I gave it to you.
I was like,
Yeah.
it's totally going to be Killzone.
I was like, there's no way she's going to know what this is.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's Killzone.
Didn't play it, but God, it has a special place in my heart
Well, see,
too.
now I'm hoping that because, I told you when Horizon Zero Dawn came out that, like, Mogan, you need to play this game, and you were like, nah, it doesn't seem for me. Now you're playing Forbidden West, and you're like, oh my God, it's the best. So I feel like you owe me at least to go back for a couple of these.
How many husbando in Killzone?
I don't know. Main character, not your style.
I was about
your
to say,
type of
think about
husbando.
me, Jared.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's true.
no.
Not in Killzone.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Hard pass.
So Killzone.
As name
There's-
imply,
as
you
name
kill
implies,
in zone.
You kill in a lot of different zones. But no, it's actually I believe there are 6 titles total in the series. There's Killzone 1, 2, and 3. There were a couple of different games, one for the PS Vita and I think one for the PSP. And then there's also Killzone Shadowfall, which was a launch title for the PS4. So, like I said, I'm not totally clear on all the different story beats and overall objectives, who you're doing. I mean that's important sometimes too, but I don't remember that who you're playing as or what the whole thing. You do play in Killzone 2 and 3 as Sev, or Sevchenko is his name, and you're basically, the whole thing is there's these 2 warring factions that have been at war for forever. It's honestly somewhat reminiscent of Titanfall's story in that there's these 2 big factions that have been going at it for a very long time. But
Classic
in this
red
one,
versus blue scenario.
absolutely. In this one though, the Helgen are like the big bads. They're the one, and it's the ICS or the ISC. I have it pulled up, so we're right here. ISA, Interplanetary Strategic Alliance.
Wow, what a lame name.
Versus the Helgen Empire. What I remember most about this game is it's incredibly brutal. Like, it gets the name Killzone for a reason. It's honestly kind of similar in gore, I would say, in like its violence to more of Gears of War, where it's like you
okay.
headshot, the head's gone.
It
It's a melon.
explode.
You know what I mean? But
They really got those out of this world physics.
but it really is somewhat of a marriage, thinking back of it now, of the Gears of War series, and also, and I know their timelines maybe not quite line up exactly, but like of the influences that I see is Gears of War, Titanfall, and what was the last one that I just had in my head and now has completely escaped me? Wolfenstein. Because the Helgens look very similar to like the robotic Nazi armors and stuff.
Robot Nazis, of course.
Of the Wolfenstein series, especially New Order, of the newer ones and stuff like that too. They're very like they're like all masked.
Oh, okay.
And stuff.
Do they
usually
they're
kind of like
almost gas mask-esque?
yes, very
Okay.
gas mask-esque. Have like the rubber hoses going to it. Their eyes are circular, but like red dots. So
That's
it's
exactly
very,
what I was imagining before I even
with
looked
that
it
kind
up.
of that same like similarly styled kind of like helmet kind of thing, going on there. And so they're just very, just like menacing villains, and they're all like and they're very rough. They're very and it's just a very brutal game because at any moment it's also the typical one where it's like you follow a linear path through the level, and it does have that trope of you get to the place, you kill all the people in it, and then you move on. But like I remember near the end of Killzone 2, it was such like I was stuck on that final mission for forever. But one of the things I really do remember about it is not only just like the representation or the art style and like how the enemies were portrayed and just how fierce and brutal the whole thing was. One of the things that I remember about it is like how the combat felt. When you're pulling the trigger and your guns are firing, it's like with the sound design and everything, and like the impacts sounds tied with the visuals, it's like you really feel it.
Yeah.
It's like
very tactile.
You feel very connected. And granted, this is PS3, so it's not like you're having the super vibration controls of the DualShock 4, or even now with the DualShock 5.
Haptic feedbacks.
Haptic feedbacks. You're not
Back
necessarily
in
getting
my
that
day,
as much.
all we had was the Rumble Pack.
Exactly. So but you still like it was able to give you that feeling,
Yeah.
and it was so good. And so I know I'm kind of talking overall of the whole series because that's really what it is. Shadowfall did include a lot of the new things for the PS4, plus was like a huge visual upgrade. Although I went back and watched like the opening cinematics for even Killzone 2, and like it's not that bad. Like it still looks pretty good. But one of the things also that I did not remember about the game is how stacked the cast is, because you have one of the main characters is voiced by James Remar, who Dexter fans, he's Dexter's dad.
Dexter's Laboratory?
No, Dexter, serial killer
Okay,
Dexter
gotcha.
from Showtime.
Interesting. Go on.
No. So James Remar is the voice of a character in that. But the baddies of the Helgens are voiced by is voiced by Brian Cox, who is in Succession.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Every time. Have you ever seen the movie? John C. Reilly's in it. It's Dewey Cox, the Walk Hard story.
No.
Okay,
Never
so
even heard of it.
It's very funny, but it's basically a spoof movie of Walk the Line.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So where John C. Reilly plays like a Johnny Cash adjacent character and stuff like that. But he, at one point, he has a sausage brand, and it's named after him.
Heavens to Betsy.
And it's like, if it don't taste like Cox, it's not Cox.
That's very funny.
So anyway,
Excellent.
but moving on. So Brian Cox is the voice. He's been in huge character actor for a long time. Currently now playing in Succession and everything. And then we also have the other main baddie is voiced by Malcolm McDowell, who
That name sounds familiar.
Clockwork Orange. He's the main character in Clockwork Orange. He's in Community. He's one of the professors. He's like now he's an old, crotchety British man, kind of is a lot of his characters, but he's always a very incredibly menacing villain and has a very unique, distinct voice. And so I was like, damn, that's really cool. I didn't remember them being in it. So just the whole atmosphere that the games create it sticks with me, even though unfortunately the details don't that much, but like of all the deal. But I remember the combat, but like also too, this is pre PS4, like playing PS5, so like this is 10 plus years ago that I was playing this.
Oh, I do know this man, Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell, yeah.
His face is familiar when the name was not. I realized I was thinking of famous supermodel Andy McDowell.
Oh, yeah, not the same.
Nope, not the same. Yeah. Also, I did not realize until just looking it up that Guerrilla Games.
Yeah, that
did
was the last
Killzone.
point. That was the last point.
Fascinating.
The Killzone series was what Guerrilla did before moving on to Horizon.
So they left Killzone rightly in the dust, and they went on to way better things.
I mean, I'm
sure
sorry.
it's a good series.
I would
I'm
love
sure
to see
it is.
Killzone come back.
I don't doubt that. Now that I know that it's been made by Guerrilla, I don't doubt that it is probably a good experience.
Yeah, but that also then speaks volumes to the studio that they can create a fantastic franchise.
Two such very different IPs.
Two such very different IPs, and both knock it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it speaks volumes to them.
I will say I also didn't know that the Killzone series had so many games in it.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that the one Killzone you gave me was the only one. I
there's
didn't
6.
know that it was one of the last ones
And I
in
think
the series.
I haven't played the first one because it was a PS2, and I don't know. And I think by the time I'd already played 2 and 3 was when they decided to come out with the collection. So I was like, I don't need to buy this again to just play the first one.
Yeah.
So I haven't played the first one, but I have played 2, 3, Shadowfall, and then the Vita one. So
Awesome.
which was all very
Well,
good games. I had fun with them all.
Pat on the back to me for guessing it
I
right.
I am impressed. I will
Hell
say. I was like,
yes.
there's no way she's going to know this.
I was like, I definitely know it. I just had a feeling, Jared. But my L.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know this one
It's
too.
very, very obvious. And if you're at home and you're not a typical fan of the show, you're probably thinking, oh, it's The Legend of Zelda. Nope.
No.
You're close, but not quite. It has to be The Legend of Dragoon.
Tell us this
Obviously.
tale one more time.
What's The Legend of Dragoon? I hear you asking. Well,
How
let
many
me
discs
tell
does
you.
it have on the old
has
PS1?
4 discs on the PS1. God, I should have brought my booklet. I should have brought my visual aids because I still have it. I could have brought the 4 discs and flipped through it. But yeah, so The Legend of Dragoon is a JRPG. Came out in... I think in Japan, it may have come out in either 1999 or the year 2000. In the West, it came out in either 2000 or 2001, I believe. But so the point of that being, it came out right at the same time as Final Fantasy VII did.
Ouch.
Both for the PlayStation 1, both JRPGs, both from Square... Wait, who? I feel like Square Enix did Legend of Dragoon.
Did it?
Legend of Dragon. That's how you say it. The Legend of Dragoon. I think it was Square. Was it not? Publisher. Oh, just Sony. Just Sony Interactive.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was confused, I think, because I feel like Sony has owned Square Enix for 10,000 years, right?
No.
No?
Square Enix is actually well, okay. A little bit of news, but they actually did just sell off some of their IPs.
Well, I did see that.
Okay. But Square Enix itself is still, I believe, independent.
Gosh, I guess I just always kind of thought that.
Crystal Dynamics, that's what was sold.
Okay. Well, anyways, that was just some misinformation on my part then. But the point is, Legend of Dragoon was just, it came out at exactly the wrong time.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Given the field at the time, which is a real heckin' darn shame. Excuse my language, everyone. I'm sorry. Sorry for the strong language. Whoa.
Hitting us with the heckins.
That is a darn shame because it is such an underrated experience. So even comparing it to the Final Fantasy series at all is just, it's a non-starter because they are extremely different.
Yeah.
The whole idea of The Legend of Dragoon is you play as main character Dart. He is your typical red guy. He embody element fire. He protagonist, as they all were back in
Sure.
the day. So he's the protagonist. The setup to the start of the game is that he's been away from home for about 4 or 5 years. He left on a quest to find this creature called the Black Monster, who, when he was a child, he and his friend Shauna lived in this same little town, and their town was razed to the ground, burned down. Everyone was slaughtered,
Oh, no.
except for Dart and Shauna, whose parents basically hid them so that they could both survive. So they're basically the only 2 survivors of their entire town that was just massacred by this creature called the Black Monster.
Okay.
So Dart's been out on this quest. The game starts with him coming back home to a different town. Him and Shauna obviously moved to a real town after theirs got burned to the ground. So he's coming back home, and he gets back to his town only to discover that shit's going down.
Oh, no.
This new town that he's been living in for a long time has recently been raided by some like random dudes from the world's worst prison, and they kidnapped his childhood friend Shauna.
Dear God.
Who is now, so Shauna's 18. I think Dart is canonically 24, I want to say.
Okay.
So they're close enough in age that perhaps romance, question mark?
Perhaps they
But-
need to be checking in on who they doing.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, we know. Okay. Anyways, so he gets back into town. Shit's already going down, as you saw in the opening cutscene. So the opening cutscene happens. Shauna gets whisked away for a weird, mysterious reason, because these people roll into town. They're looking for her, and I think she like passes out or she faints or something, and someone holds up this little shiny stone to her forehead, and like a little beam of light connect between the orb and her.
Ooh.
And the people standing around her, and one of them is like the mysterious man in the long black cloak, are like,
Sure.
she's the one. And you're like, oh, what does that mean? that could mean anything. So they take her away, and you don't know why, and you don't really find out until obviously through the events of the game much towards the end. So that's the setup. Is Dart's looking for, it's a typical save the damsel.
Sure.
It starts as a typical,
Might as well be Legend of Zelda, you know what I'm saying?
exactly. It starts as a typical save the damsel kind of game. So you are Dart, you start on your quest to go save Shauna from Helena prison, and along the way you start picking up your other party members, just like you do in every other JRPG on planet Earth.
Right.
The first character you get in your party is also the best character in the game, Levitz. So if anybody knows me online, my username for PlayStation has been Levitz Lives for many, many years. It will be until the day I die. It's my Steam name. It's very funny if you know the events of the game.
It's an in-joke. You gotta know
It's an
it.
in-joke, you gotta know it. But it is so funny having that name, because every now and then I'll encounter people in other online games and they see my username and then they'll message me and be
Oh, that's
like,
fun.
and I'm like, I understand your pain. But so it's really just a pretty standard JRPG in terms of their elemental attacks. It's turn-based combat. You have 3 party members actively in your squad at a time, meaning they're the 3 that go into battle. You cannot... I don't think you can interchange your party members during battle, but you can swap them out when you're back on the main menu screen, except for Dart, who, because he's the protagonist, he's fixed in the main party at all times, which sucks. If they ever remake that game, please make Dart not required for the main party. I hate him the most.
Your main character, get him out of here.
Main character, get him the hell out of there, because there's so many other way better characters in the game. So not including Levitz, the other like favorite character that I have talked about many times, and I think on favorite characters, maybe favorite female characters, Rose.
Yes.
Rose is so cool. She has the long, scary black hair. She wears all purple with like gold accents. She's got mean looking eyes and a sick looking sword. And you're like, oh, she's small and skinny and fast. You know that you should be nervous about her. So obviously the whole gist of the game is things beyond you are happening, and it's like this universe sort of altering scale, and you're just putting the pieces together as you play the game. Sorry, there was a hair on my shirt. If you saw me clawing at my neck, that's why I got
blame
it.
the pups.
Everybody, yep, we're good. Actually, it was one of my own hairs.
I tried to blame
Yeah,
the pups.
well now, anyways, so you're going through the game, collecting party members, going through many different regions that are all like, the towns in this game, the different cities you can travel to, largely because of the era, it's just so awesomely nostalgic to go back and see those hand-painted cityscapes and to like be able to walk through them with your little 3D character, and there's this total disconnect between like I don't really fit in place here, but it does look really cool. So the painted backgrounds were phenomenal. The gameplay itself is extremely fun because the Dragoon in Legend of Dragoon is all of the people in your party, through one way or another, they start acquiring these things called Dragoon Stones, which are these little orbs, not the same orb from the beginning cutscene, but
Right.
they're these little orbs with like a black eye in them that all are basically the trapped soul of a dragon. So by wielding a Dragoon Stone, the person wielding it can become this armored dragoon-like person. You're still a person, but you basically get super dragon powers and like amazing armor to go along with it and all these cool elemental abilities. And that's what makes the combat so fun, because you're interchanging your strategies between just being able to use your typical melee additions, which are basically big combos that you can do in melee combat. I'm calling it melee, but it's basically just the distinction of your non-magical hits versus your magical hits. So you can do some crazy stuff with those, which they build on throughout the game to make them more and more complex and more interesting. And then you can also balance that with your magical attacks by becoming a dragoon and doing all this crazy shit that can help you and your party with buffs and heals, or that can just do crazy amounts of damage towards the enemy.
Nice.
And as you do all of this, you're summoning dragons, and it rules.
How is that not cool? That's
It's
obviously
hella
cool.
awesome. And you fight all kinds of big, crazy, like mystical and just made up monsters throughout the entire game, along with obviously people.
Yeah.
People are the real monsters. We all know that all the time. You go to the moon.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew
I
that.
did not
You
know
go to
that.
the moon.
Legend of Dragoon is another one that
It's a
somehow fell through my
crazy
fingers and I missed.
You will never play this game, and that's okay.
I know. That is okay.
It is okay.
But I still hope,
understand.
with all my heart, that one day you do get a remaster.
Someday.
I see like posts on Reddit every once in a while, like the gaming subreddits and stuff like that. Somebody being like the picture of it and being like, "I wish somebody would make this masterpiece." And I know that it's actually you with your 100 alt accounts making every single post.
It's all me.
Each one I see it and I'm like, take my vote. Maybe that will help.
Maybe. Thank you. Thank you for your service. But yeah, The Legend of Dragoon is never getting a remake. It got destroyed in sales by Final Fantasy VII. God damn it. But we can dream. We can dream.
One of the things, though, that I also remember and love about it, just from you talking about it, is the one episode where we, with Zach, talked about our favorite game trailers. Remember that one? And you showed us the old commercial for it.
It's so cool.
Where Ned gets his head chopped.
Lloyd
Gets his head chopped off. And he's
off.
like, "Come on, can we cut?
on."
He chopped my head off, man." It was like so weird. It was like they were making a movie. It was
it was
bizarre,
so
but
funny.
it was so funny.
Yeah, if
I know Zach and I both just died because we weren't expecting it at all.
If you know nothing, you don't have to know anything about the game. Go to YouTube right now and just type in Legend of Dragoon commercial and watch that ad. It is hysterical.
We'll drop it in the Discord.
What's even funnier about it is it tells you nothing about the game. Absolutely nothing.
Okay, JRPG, dragons, 4 discs.
Yep,
I'm there.
4 discs. I'm there. That's all you need to know. I will go on ahead and also just say a mild spoiler. At no point in the game does Lloyd get his head cut off by Dart. That was just for the ad. That doesn't happen in the game. But yeah, Legend of
that's
Dragoon.
so funny.
What an incredible time. If you are the kind of person who likes to go back and play older games and you haven't played The Legend of Dragoon, please give it a chance. It
Okay.
is incredible.
Now, here's a question. If, through these new tiers of PS Plus that are about to come out, if Legend of Dragoon is one of the like games that you can play in the higher tier, are you going to get it so you can play it?
I will get it just for a brief amount of time to be able to play the Legend of Dragoon, and then I'll cancel it
How
again.
fast do you think you could play through the game again?
Oh, not fast. It's long.
Oh, is
That's
it
a long
still?
game.
Okay, I mean,
It's
I know it's
4
I know it's
discs,
4 discs, but
Jared.
this is also 1999, 2001.
No, you're right. In
What-
terms of
that area.
actual... If I had to guess how long it would take you to play it now, like as an adult.
Sure.
Because when I was a kid, obviously games took forever
Right.
because I wasn't smart. But now as an adult, I could probably beat it. It's probably 25 to 30 hour game.
Oh,
is my
okay.
best guess.
Yeah.
I would think that it's maybe along those lines. I should actually ask Bro Mogan because he replays it frequently.
Oh.
He still has all our 4 discs, you see.
You have the box, but he has the discs.
Yeah, I have the booklet, but he has the discs. Yeah, it's a top tier 10 out of 10 game. You cannot change my mind.
Not gonna try.
It did truly unique things in the field of JRPGs that you did not see anyone else do, both in terms of gameplay and its story and its characters. I just think that it is such an underrated, truly hidden gem. And if you're looking for a wild ass hidden gem out there, go find Legend of Dragoon. You'll probably have to purchase it per disc on eBay because nobody has all 4 discs anymore. But God, if you can assemble them, it's kind of like the Infinity Gauntlet.
it really
you
is.
have to assemble all 4 discs. But yeah, if you can find it, good on you.
Oh, man. Very nice, very nice. It's good. It's been a minute.
It's good to go
I
back.
know it's like it's one of those games we've talked about a lot, but it was good to go back because it has been a minute since I've heard
It's been a while.
The Legend of Dragoon.
Look at these top tier, incredible. I hate my fucking phone.
It's an Android. I don't know.
Oh, no, wait. That's like a fake. It definitely didn't look that good. That
It's
was
a
a fake
DeviantArt
render.
thing.
Yeah, that was not real. Look at these. Look at these incredible
Let me look at those
graphics. Look at
polygons.
those polygons.
Oh my God.
It looks amazing.
It does.
This
I mean,
is back in.
that's the straight late 90s, early 2000s.
It really
right there.
is. This is like Tomb Raider era where Laura's boobs really were just two triangles. That's all they could manage. Yep. Anyways, best game of all time.
All right, there you go. Well, we're going to follow up a best game of all time with another best game of all
time.
time because you may not have heard me talk about it lately, but I bet you can guess my L. Here's where I turn around my shirt to reveal Last of Us Part 2 shirt again. No, I'm
Was
not
it
doing
not?
that.
That would have been
That
really
would've-
funny.
I thought about that while we
Jared,
were
you
sitting here
should've done
recording because, especially because I don't know if you saw on the YouTube, but James K called me out. He commented and he's like, I like how Jared's like, I don't talk about The Last of Us Part 2 or I won't talk about it as he wears The Last of Us Part 2 shirt. So that's why I thought I should have
can't believe
I
you're
should have
not
pulled it back
wearing
out
it.
again.
Jeez.
But yes, my L has to go to The Last of Us.
Obviously.
For a brief moment when making the list, Life is Strange did take my L.
So I think that's got to be both of our actual runner-up, right?
It has to
like
be.
in our hearts.
In our hearts, it's there.
It's Life
our
is
collective
Strange.
ABCs
Yes,
of video
our
games.
collective LIS.
L.
Yeah, our shared L would have to be Life is Strange.
100%. And we've talked about that game in Link too.
So much, and we'll never stop.
And we're about to talk about it again when we play
We
Life
sure
is Strange
are.
True Colors
Yep,
because that
more
one is
coming
actually
soon.
coming very soon. We do have a plan to get that review
We're gonna
out
do
very
it. Don't
soon.
worry.
Like within the next month or two. I'll say month. We'll do that.
1 month.
We'll give ourselves a defined timeline. But anyway, so we'll talk about Life is Strange a little bit more later on down the road. But Last of Us, again, it's a game I've talked about a lot, or games that I've talked about a lot, so I won't belabor the point. For those of you who may not know, basically it's a post-apocalyptic zombie game where you play as Joel Miller, and you have to take Ellie, this girl who you later find, slight spoiler for the game here, might hold the secret to being able to cure this disease that has run rampant on Earth for like 20-ish years by this time of the game's event.
It's a pseudo zombie-esque setup,
Yes.
but not exactly.
Not exactly, because it very much is more of like a character study kind of a game and everything. And that's one of the things that I appreciated about it a lot. Made by Naughty Dog, if you didn't know. And the thing about Last of Us and why it especially holds this L and still sits currently at my top game of all time is because it's the game that really tapped me into what games can be. And so up until this point, I played Last of Us when it came out. I saw trailers for it, and and everything. I was very much following its release. And when it came out, I got it day one for PS3 and all that stuff, which was at the very end of the PS3's life cycle. Good times.
Good times.
But still, and then I played this game. Up until this point, I had been a gamer, yes, but the PS3 was my first console I'd ever owned. Anything I'd played on consoles up until that point was always at friends' houses. I had a Mac computer growing up, so I was limited to whatever I could find on that,
Oregon
which
Trail.
pretty much was Oregon
Yep.
Trail and Civilization. Dark Forces. Get
and
that
Dark
one in there
Forces.
too. And so, I would say that, like, while yes, I would have called myself a gamer and loved video games and stuff growing up, I really didn't have the ability to try out a vast majority of games and really see what was out there until I had had my PS3 and all that stuff. And I played the good game. I played Assassin's Creed. I played Assassin's Creed 2, loved all those, and thought they were a great time. But also, at that time in my life, I was still very much trying to be like, maybe movies are where I want to go. And be career-wise.
Yeah.
I'd moved to Austin at this point, and partially for that was to get involved in the film and TV scene here. Since then, that dream, I've been like, you know what? I don't want to be involved in the hours that working in TV and film would require. So no, thank you. But at the time, though, still, it was like I was very much like the movie guy. I was watching as many movies as I could, playing as many games as I could, and The Last of Us married those two in the best way that I had seen.
Yeah.
I know we used to have the talk in the conversation back in older episodes about cinematic games and if there's a place for them.
Right.
I think that Last of Us, I don't know if you would necessarily call it a cinematic, because it's not the one in question that we also talk about that when we talk about that is The Order of 1886.
Right.
Because it does have a lot of quick time events and everything. It's not as so much gameplay focused as it does have a very strong story. That's kind of how I feel where Last of Us does have both. It has the strong gameplay, but it also has the super strong story that, while is not while I say games like Horizon and these big open world games also have great, fantastic stories, they're also stretched because they are just so big. Like, it's going to be months
not
before I see the
focused. Yeah.
it's going to be months before I see the conclusion of the story of Horizon Forbidden West, and I
Exactly.
know that, and I'm okay with that. But The Last of Us, it does have some exploration that you can do, but for the most part, you are following a very linear path with a very linear story that often has very quick. There will be cinematics within short breaks of the levels themselves. So it's like always this constant like rotation between gameplay to cinematic that keeps both very focused.
Yeah.
And so I just think you get with that allows you a little bit more room to really,
Connect with the characters. And the
really
story.
let them get fleshed out. It really allows the game also then, because it can do that so quickly and so focused, to really pack those punches emotionally.
True.
And that's the thing we've talked about too, about how that is very much a connecting thing for me. The gameplay might not be that great, but if I like the story like really hits me emotionally and like the gut punch, much of why I liked Life is Strange so much.
Yeah, and Grease.
And Grease.
Both of them. Not that incredible on the gameplay fronts.
Right, but the story-wise and what they tell in that story, oh my God. So The Last of Us, I just remember it was the very first game that it ended, and I sat there in silence through the whole credits. Almost too, like feeling very emotional, verge of tears, just being like, holy shit, I can't believe.
You gotta learn to let him go, Jared.
You
gotta learn to release the beast.
Don't worry, I do. There's nothing wrong with that. No problem doing that. But it's just, it was just one of those things. I just sat there and just had to like let it sink in what I just experienced, because I knew it was like, again, without going into the whole details of The Last of Us or Last of Us Part 2, it's just the ending is incredibly climatic and incredibly just subverts what you were expecting, I guess. And so it just is one of those things where it just sat there, it cuts to black, the theme song comes on as the credits roll, and I was just like, holy shit. And in that moment, I was like, I know I have to do something where I can talk about or be involved more than just as this thing on the side when I have time. This is it.
Did The Last of Us start Team Chat Podcast?
I think, honestly, it
More
planted,
on this story at 10.
It planted the seed,
Yeah.
if nothing else, of being like, I have to. That's honestly where The Last of Us finished, and I was like, my film career is dead. This new
Friendship
era
with film ended. New friendship with video games started.
has begun. And so, no, I legitimately do like give Last of Us the credit for being the game that maybe be like, this is what video games can be. I want to be all in on this.
Yeah.
And eventually, yes, I do. I like it. It absolutely 100% led to Team Chat becoming a thing.
sure.
So I mean, 2 years later, I guess, because it was 2013. Team Chat started 2015.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, it's 2022. It's
Been a while. Oh God.
And so yeah, I just have to give. And then Last of Us Part 2 came out. Obviously, I was super stoked for that, and it just hit again on all the right notes.
Yeah.
So I think it's an incredibly amazing game. If you have not played it, please do. Note it is scary. It's zombies. There's some jumps. It's a very mature game in all sense.
There
but
be blood.
There be blood.
Yeah.
But overall, just a 10 out of 10. Knocks it out of the park.
Did you
brought you this great gift of Team Chat Podcast.
Brought you this great gift of Team Chat. Did you ever think there would be a circumstance where you would be talking about The Last of Us and Killzone in the same episode?
Honestly, no.
And that's why we're doing the
And that is
ABCs
why
of
we're
gaming,
here.
people. It's exactly why we're doing it.
Exactly, because it really does let us have the chance to talk about
Yeah.
those games that we're never going to have a time.
We are
because
getting
we
to
have to
go-
find something to fill in the K's, the Y's, and the X's.
We have to go far afield in some of these cases.
A little bit, but it does also give us this quick little snippet of time to talk about some of our just
Yeah.
absolute favorites.
Yeah, obviously.
And that's where The Last of Us ranks for me. So while Life is Strange, yes, is a fantastic game, and we've had a lot of fun in the series. Excited to play True Colors. It just couldn't quite. It's just not there to edge out.
Absolutely
The Last
not.
of Us, and I honestly don't know what will.
Yeah.
Nothing yet.
Probably nothing yet.
Like Forbidden West and everything, like I could see Forbidden West very much replacing Zero Dawn in its slot, because it's like, oh yeah, here's this second game and it's doing everything the first one did and adding
Just
on a
better.
whole lot of new
Yeah.
and better. So like, yeah, sure, swap it out. But like, I don't know, like there has not yet been something that has impacted me quite to the extent of The Last of Us has yet.
Understandable.
And so
Yeah.
it's going to stay there for a long time. It's going to take a bit to knock it off.
That's fine.
And that is fine.
Sometimes it be like that.
And when we do our ABCs of Video Games Part 2 in 5 years from now, it'll probably still be my L.
I think this is one of the very few episodes where I legitimately don't have a runner-up for a letter. I don't really have anything for J as a runner-up.
Yeah, I don't either.
That I've actually played. I did mention Jet Set Radio,
Right.
that would have been the stretch of all stretches.
Well, I mean, I feel like Killzone was a pretty big
thought-
stretch. I was like, yeah, it's a game I played.
You, that your J was going to be, I had guessed Just Dance. Like in my mind, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if he talks about Just Dance.
You know what? It's fun. I like Just Dance, but it's not enough to get it onto a list. Like,
Understandable.
I think it's very fun. We've actually dropped off playing it quite a bit. We used to play it a lot, and we haven't yet. We haven't played it in a really long time. I want to master the Rasputin dance.
Oh, okay.
It's hard.
I don't doubt it.
You tried
Don't
it?
doubt that it is. No, but I do know that the version that I like better is the Swedish death metal one from Teresa's.
I've not heard that, and I have
I'll
to go
send
listen
it to you.
Please
It's
do.
awesome.
Oh man.
But yeah, those
That's
are
our J, K, and L. I keep wanting to
Ls.
say the different letters for some reason. I'm like
They
having a
feel
very
out of order
They really do.
somehow.
I want to start with L. I want to say LMN.
Yeah,
but
no,
for
it's
some-
not.
Nobody
it's,
says
it's
JKL
Yeah, JKL.
except us.
Yeah.
But that was it. That was
Here
our
on
list.
Team Chat
So
Podcast.
Jedi Fallen Order for me.
Journey.
Journey for you.
Killzone, Kirby Air Ride,
Last of Us.
Legend of Dragoon.
Boom. There you go. J, K, and L for this episode. So thanks for joining us with that. Do we have a moment with Moon?
No.
Do you want to do one? Okay. Well, all right,
It's a long enough episode
Yeah,
already.
Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of Team Chat Podcast, because that wraps up our latest edition into the ABCs of video games. Come back next week for another fun and exciting topic. I will go ahead and say, little sneak peek, because we had a fun discussion about it over in the old Discord. I posted an article there about a study or some bot program, whatever,
Yeah.
that ran and compiled a list of the 10 hottest male video game characters.
Based on like the golden circle ratio.
Right. So, basically, though, we were enraged by
We
this
were
list. I'm not going to talk. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to
We'll
say
talk
who's.
about it
we're
on the
gonna save
episode.
it. But we are going to be giving our rebuttals and our own list.
Yeah, this is a roast-a-sode of
So-
just destroying their list and replacing it with our own.
Exactly.
Yeah, get ready for that.
So, if you want to go over to the Discord, you can see the article there, and send us what maybe some of your picks will, so we can have a nice, firm, well-rounded
Yeah.
list of submitted ones and our own to be like, no, take your bullshit list and throw it in the trash.
Put it right in the garbage. We'll talk more about it
We'll
next
talk
time.
about it next time, but that's a little sneak peek for you of what is going to be coming down the pike. So until then, everybody, I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined by my co-host, Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
We will see you all next time.